The first of Chronicles, chapter 1. Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan were Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. The sons of Ham were Cush, and Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush were Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Raamah, and Sabteca. And the sons of Raamah were Sheba and Dedan. And Cush himself became father to Nimrod. He it was that made the start in becoming a mighty one in the earth. As for Mizraim, he became father to Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim and Casluhim, from among whom the Philistines went forth, and Caphtorim. As for Canaan, he became father to Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. The sons of Shem were Elam, and Asher, and Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram, and Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. As for Arpachshad, he became father to Shelah, and Shelah himself became father to Eber. And to Eber 2 sons were born. The name of the one was Peleg, because in his days the earth was divided, and the name of his brother was Joktan. As for Joktan, he became father to Almodad, and Sheleph, and Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, and Hadoram, and Usal, and Diklah, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Shem, Arpachshad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah. Abram, that is to say, Abraham. The sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. These are their family origins. Ishmael's firstborn Nebaioth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, Mishma, and Dumah, Massa, Hadad, and Tema, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael. As for the sons of Keturah, Abraham's concubine, she gave birth to Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And the sons of Jokshan were Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, and Epher, and Hanok, and Abida, and Eldaah. All these were the sons of Keturah. And Abraham came to be father to Isaac. The sons of Isaac were Esau and Israel. The sons of Esau were Eliphaz, Ruel, and Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, and Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, Kenaz, and Timnah, and Amalek. The sons of Ruel were Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Missah. And the sons of Seir were Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. And the sons of Lotan were Horai and Homam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. The sons of Shobal were Alvan, and Manahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. And the sons of Zibeon were Aiah and Anah. The sons of Anah were Dishon. And the sons of Dishon were Hemdan and Eshban and Ithran and Kiran. The sons of Ezer were Bilhan and Zeavan and Achan. The sons of Dishan were Uz and Aran. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the sons of Israel. Bela the son of Beor, the name of whose city was Dinhabah. Eventually Bela died, and Jobab the son of Zerah from Bozrah began to reign in place of him. Eventually Jobab died, and Husham from the land of the Temanites began to reign in place of him. Eventually Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the field of Moab, began to reign in place of him, and the name of his city was Avith. Eventually Hadad died, and Samlah from Masrekah began to reign in place of him. Eventually Samlah died, and Shael from Rehoboth by the river began to reign in place of him. Eventually Shael died, and Baal-Hanan the son of Akbor began to reign in place of him. Eventually Baal-Hanan died, and Hadad began to reign in place of him, and the name of his city was Pau, and the name of his wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Eventually Hadad died. And the sheiks of Edom came to be Sheik Timnah, Sheik Alva, Sheik Jetheth, Sheik Oholibamah, Sheik Elah, Sheik Pinon, Sheik Kenaz, Sheik Teman, Sheik Mibsah, Sheik Magdiel, Sheik Iram. These were the sheiks of Edom. Chapter 2. These were the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi and Judah, Issachar and Zebulun, Dan, Joseph and Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah were and Onan and Shelah. The three were born to him from Shua's daughter the Canaanitess. And the firstborn of Judah, came to be bad in the eyes of Jehovah, so that he put him to death. And Tamar his daughter-in-law it was that bore to him Perez and Zerah. All the sons of Judah were 5. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamal, and the sons of Zerah were Zimri and Ethan, and Heman, and Calcol and Dara. There were 5 of them in all. And the sons of Carmi were Achar, the bringer of ostracism upon Israel, who committed an act of unfaithfulness respecting the thing devoted to destruction. And the sons of Ethan were Azariah. And the sons of Hezron that were born to him were Jerahmeel, and Ram, and Kelubai. As for Ram, he became father to Aminadab. Aminadab in turn became father to Nahshon the chieftain of the sons of Judah. Nahshon in turn became father to Salma. Salma in turn became father to Boaz. Boaz in turn became father to Obed. Obed in turn became father to Jesse. Jesse in turn became father to his firstborn Eliab, and Abinadab the second, and Shimeah the third, Nethanel the fourth, Radai the 5th, Ozem the 6th, David the 7th. And their sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail, and the sons of Zeruiah were Abishai and Joab and Asahel, 3. As for Abigail, she gave birth to Amasa, and the father of Amasa was Jether the Ishmaelite. As for Caleb, the son of Hezron, he became father to sons by Azubah his wife, and by Jerioth. And these were her sons, Jesher and Shobab and Ardon. Eventually Azubah died, so Caleb took to himself Ephrath, who in time bore Hur to him. Hur in turn became father to Uri. Uri in turn became father to Bezalel. And afterward Hezron had relations with the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilead. And he himself took her when he was 60 years old, but she bore Segub to him. Segub in turn became father to Jair, who came to have 23 cities in the land of Gilead. Later Geshur and Syria took Havoth-Jair from them with Kenath and its dependent towns, 60 cities. All these were the sons of Machir, the father of Gilead. And after the death of Hezron and Caleb Ephrathah, with Abijah being the wife of Hezron, she then bore him Ashur, the father of Tekoa. And the sons of Jerahmeel, the firstborn of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, and Bunah, and Oren, and Ozem, Ahijah. And Jerahmeel came to have another wife, whose name was Atterah. She was the mother of Onam. And the sons of Ram, the firstborn of Jerahmeel, came to be Maaz, and Jamin, and Eker. And the sons of Onam came to be Shammai and Jada. And the sons of Shammai were Nadab and Abishah. And the name of Abishah's wife was Abihail, who in time bore him Aban and Molid. And the sons of Nadab were Seled and Appaim, but Seled died without sons. And the sons of Appaim were Ishai. And the sons of Ishai were Shishan. And the sons of Shishan, Arli. And the sons of Jada, the brother of Shammai, were Jether and Jonathan. But Jether died without sons. And the sons of Jonathan were Peleth and Zazah. These became the sons of Jerahmeel. And Shishan came to have no sons, but daughters. Now Shishan had an Egyptian servant whose name was Jarha. So Shishan gave his daughter to Jarha his servant as a wife, who in time bore him Attai. Attai in turn became father to Nathan. Nathan in turn became father to Zabad. Zabad in turn became father to Ephlal. Ephlal in turn became father to Obed. Obed in turn became father to Jehu. Jehu in turn became father to Azariah. Azariah in turn became father to Helez. Helez in turn became father to Eleasar. Eleasar in turn became father to Sismai. Sismai in turn became father to Shallum. Shallum in turn became father to Jechamiah. Jechamiah in turn became father to Elishama. And the sons of Caleb, the brother of Jerahmeel, were Misha his firstborn, who was the father of Ziph, and the sons of Marisha, the father of Hebron. And the sons of Hebron were Korah and Tappuah, and Rechem and Shema. Shema in turn became father to Raham, the father of Jorkiam. Rechem in turn became father to Shammai. And the son of Shammai was Maon, and Maon was the father of Bethzur. As for Ephah, the concubine of Caleb, she gave birth to Haran and Mosa and Gazez. As for Haran, he became father to Gazez. And the sons of Jahdai were Regem and Jotham and Geshan and Pelet and Ephah and Shaph. As for Caleb's concubine, Maacah, she gave birth to Sheba and Tirhana. In time she bore Shaph, the father of Madmanah, Sheva, the father of Macbena, and the father of Gibeah. And Caleb's daughter was Achsah. These became the sons of Caleb. The sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, Shobal, the father of Kiriath-Jearim, Salma, the father of Bethlehem, Hareph, the father of Beth-Gader. And Shobal, the father of Kiriath-Jearim, came to have sons, Haroi, half of the Menuhoth. And the families of Kiriath-Jearim were the Ithrites, and the Puthites, and the Shumathites, and the Mishraites. It was from these that the Zorathites and the Eshtaolites came out. The sons of Salma were Bethlehem and the Netophathites, Atroth Beth-Joab, and half of the Manahathites, the Zorites. And the families of the scribes dwelling at Jabez were the Tirathites, the Shimeathites, the Sukathites. These were the Kenites that came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. Chapter 3. And these became the sons of David that were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn Amnon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, the second Daniel of Abigail the Carmelitess, the third Absalom the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai the king of Geshur, the fourth Adonijah the son of Haggith, the fifth Shephatiah of Abital, the sixth Ithream of Eglah his wife. There were 6 born to him in Hebron, and he continued to reign there 7 years and 6 months, and for 33 years he reigned in Jerusalem. And there were these born to him in Jerusalem, Shimeah and Shobab and Nathan and Solomon, 4 of Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel, and Ibhar and Elishama and Eliphalet, and Noga and Nepheg and Japhiah and Elishama and Eliada and Eliphalet, 9. All the sons of David, besides the sons of the concubines and Tamar their sister. And the son of Solomon was Rehoboam, Abijah his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Jehoram his son, Ahaziah his son, Jehoash his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son, Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Amon his son, Josiah his son. And the sons of Josiah were the firstborn Johanan, the second Jehoiakim, the third Zedekiah, the fourth Shallum. And the sons of Jehoiakim were Jeconiah his son, Zedekiah his son. And the sons of Jeconiah as prisoner were Shealtiel his son, and Malchiram, and Pedaiah, and Shenazar, Jechamiah, Hoshama, and Nedabiah. And the sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei. And the sons of Zerubbabel were Meshullam, and Hananiah, and Shelomith was their sister, and Hashubah, and Ohel, and Berechiah, and Hasadiah, Jushab-hesed, 5. And the sons of Hananiah were Pelatiah and Jeshaiah. The sons of Jeshaiah, Rephaiah. The sons of Rephaiah, Anan. The sons of Anan, Obadiah. The sons of Obadiah, Shechaniah. And the sons of Shechaniah, Shemaiah. And the sons of Shemaiah, Hattush, and Igal, and Beriah, and Neariah, and Shaphat, 6. And the sons of Neariah were Elioenai, and Hizkiah, and Azrikam, 3. And the sons of Elioenai were Hodaviah, and Eliashib, and Pelaiah, and Achab, and Johanan, and Delaiah, and Anani, 7. Chapter 4. The sons of Judah were Perez, Hezron, and Carmi, and Hur, and Shobal. As for Reaiah, the son of Shobal, he became father to Jahath. Jahath in turn became father to Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. And these were the sons of the father of Etam, Jezreel, and Ishma, and Idbash. And the name of their sister was Hazelelponi, and Penuel the father of Gedor, and Ezer the father of Husha. These were the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, the father of Bethlehem. And Ashhur, the father of Tekoa, came to have 2 wives, Helah and Nearah. In time Nearah bore to him Ahazam, and Hepher, and Temani, and Ha-hashtarai. These were the sons of Nearah. And the sons of Helah were Zereth, Izhar, and Ethnan. As for Koz, he became father to Anab, and Zobebah, and the families of Ahahel, the son of Haram. And Jabez came to be more honorable than his brothers, and it was his mother that called his name Jabez, saying, I have given him birth in pain. And Jabez began to call upon the God of Israel, saying, If you will without fail bless me, and actually enlarge my territory, and your hand really proves to be with me, and you really preserve me from calamity, that it may not hurt me. Accordingly God brought to pass what he had asked. As for Chelub, the brother of Shua, he became father to Meher, who was the father of Eshton. Eshton in turn became father to Beth-Rapha, and Paseah, and Tahinah, the father of Nahash. These were the men of Rekah. And the sons of Kenaz were Othniel and Sariah, and the sons of Othniel Hathath. As for Meonothai, he became father to Ophrah. As for Sariah, he became father to Joab, the father of Geharashim, for craftsmen are what they became. And the sons of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, were Iru, Elah, and Naam, and the sons of Elah, Kenaz. And the sons of Jehalalel were Ziph and Ziphah, Tiria and Asarel. And the sons of Ezra were Jetha and Mered, and Ephah and Jalon. And she got to conceive Miriam, and Shammai and Ishbah, the father of Eshtemoa. As for his Jewish wife, she gave birth to Jered, the father of Gedor, and Heber, the father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, the father of Zanoah. And these were the sons of Bethiah, the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Mered took. And the sons of Hodiah's wife, the sister of Naham, were the father of Keilah the Garmite, and Eshtemoa the Maacathite. And the sons of Shimon were Ammon and Rinnah, Ben-Hanan and Tilon. And the sons of Ishai were Zoheth and Ben-Zoheth. The sons of Shelah, the son of Judah, were the father of Lekah, and Laadah, the father of Marisha, and the families of the house of the workers of fine fabric, of the house of Ashbea. And Joachim and the men of Kozeba, and Joash and Seraph, who became owners of Moabite wives, and Jashobeleihem, and the sayings are of old tradition. They were the potters and the inhabitants of Netaim and Gedera. It was with the king in his work that they dwelt there. The sons of Simeon were Nemuel, and Jamin, Jarib, Zerah, Shaul. Shallum his son, Mibsam his son, Mishma his son. And the sons of Mishma were Hamuel his son, Zachar his son, Shimei his son. And Shimei had 16 sons and 6 daughters. But his brothers did not have many sons, and none of their families had as many as the sons of Judah. And they continued to dwell in Beersheba, and Moladah, and Hazar-Shual, and in Bilhah, and in Ezem, and in Tolad, and in Bethuel, and in Hormah, and in Ziklag, and in Beth-Markaboth, and in Hazar-Susim, and in Beth-Beri, and in Shearaim. These were their cities down till David reigned. And their settlements were Etam and Ain, Rimmon and Token and Ashan, 5 cities. And all their settlements that were all around these cities were as far as Baal. These were their dwelling places and their genealogical enrollments for them. And Meshobab and Jamlech and Josha the son of Amaziah, and Joel and Jehu the son of Joshabiah, the son of Sariah, the son of Asiel, and Elioenai, and Jaakobah, and Jeshoiah, and Asaiah, and Adiel, and Jesimiel, and Benaiah, and Sisa the son of Shiphi, the son of Alon, the son of Jedaeah, the son of Shimri, the son of Shemaiah. These who came in by names were the chieftains among their families, and the household itself of their forefathers increased in multitude. And they proceeded to go to the entryway of Gedor, clear to the east of the valley, to look for pasturage for their flocks. Eventually they found fat and good pasturage, and the land was quite wide, and having no disturbance, but at ease. For those dwelling there in former times were of Ham. And these, written down by their names, proceeded to come in the days of Hezekiah the king of Judah, and strike down the tents of the Hamites and the Meunim that were to be found there, so that they devoted them to destruction down to this day. and they began to dwell in their place, because there was pasturage for their flocks there. And from them there were some of the sons of Simeon that went to Mount Seir, 500 men, with Pelatiah and Neariah and Rephaiah and Uzziel, the sons of Ishi, at their head. And they proceeded to strike down the remnant that had escaped of Amalek, and they continued to dwell there down to this day. Chapter 5. And the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for his profaning the lounge of his father, his right as firstborn was given to the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel, so that he was not to be enrolled genealogically for the right of the firstborn. For Judah himself proved to be superior among his brothers, and the one for leader was from him, but the right as firstborn was Joseph's. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanok, and Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. The sons of Joel were Shemaiah, his son, Gog, his son, Shimei, his son, Micah, his son, Reaiah, his son, Baal, his son, Beerah, his son, whom Tilgath-Pilneser, the king of Assyria, took into exile, he being a chieftain of the Reubenites. And his brothers by their families, and the genealogical enrollment by their descendants, were, as the head, Jael, and Zechariah, and Bela, the son of Azaz, the son of Shema, the son of Joel. He was dwelling in Aroah, and as far as Nebo and Baal-Meon. Even to the east he dwelt as far as where one enters the wilderness at the river Euphrates, for their livestock itself had become numerous in the land of Gilead. And in the days of Saul they made war upon the Hagrites, who came to fall by their hand. And so they dwelt in their tents throughout all the country east of Gilead. As for the sons of Gad, in front of them, they dwelt in the land of Bashan, as far as Salakah. Joel was the head, and Shapham the second, and Jani and Shaphat in Bashan. And their brothers belonging to the house of their forefathers were Michael, and Meshullam, and Sheba, and Jorai, and Jachan, and Ziah, and Eber, 7. These were the sons of Abihail, the son of Huri, the son of Jeroah, the son of Gilead, the son of Michael, the son of Jeshishai, the son of Jado, the son of Buz. Ahi, the son of Abdiel, the son of Gunai, head of the house of their forefathers. And they continued to dwell in Gilead, in Bashan, and in its dependent towns, and in all the pasture grounds of Sharon, as far as their terminations. They were all of them enrolled genealogically in the days of Jotham the king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam the king of Israel. As for the sons of Reuben, and the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, of those who were valiant fellows, men carrying shield and sword, and bending the bow, and trained in war, there were 44,760 going out to the army. And they began to make war upon the Hagrites, and Jetah, and Naphish, and Nodab, and they came to be helped against them, so that the Hagrites and all those who were with them were given into their hand. For it was to God that they called for aid in the war, and he let himself be entreated in their favor, because they trusted in him. And they got to take captive their livestock, their camels 50,000, and sheep 250,000, and asses 2,000, and human souls 100,000. For there were many that had fallen slain, because it was on the part of the true God that the fighting was. And they continued to dwell in their place down to the time of the exile. As for the sons of the half-tribe of Manasseh, they dwelt in the land from Bashan to Baal-Hermon, and Senir and Mount Hermon. They themselves became numerous. And these were the heads of the house of their forefathers, Ephah, and Ishi, and Eliel, and Azriel, and Jeremiah, and Hodaviah, and Jadiel, men that were valiant, mighty fellows, men of fame, heads of the house of their forefathers. And they began to act unfaithfully toward the God of their forefathers, and went having immoral intercourse with the gods of the peoples of the land, whom God had annihilated from before them. Consequently, the God of Israel stirred up the spirit of Pul, the king of Assyria, even the spirit of Tilgath-Pilneser, the king of Assyria, so that he took into exile those of the Reubenites and of the Gadites and of the half-tribe of Manasseh, and brought them to Halah, and Habor, and Hara, and the river Gozan, to continue until this day. Chapter 6. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. And the sons of Amram were Aaron and Moses, and there was Miriam. And the sons of Aaron were Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. As for Eleazar, he became father to Phinehas. Phinehas himself became father to Abishua. Abishua in turn became father to Bacchai. Bacchai in turn became father to Uzzi. Uzzi in turn became father to Zerahiah. Zerahiah in turn became father to Meraioth. Meraioth himself became father to Amariah. Amariah in turn became father to Ahitub. Ahitub in turn became father to Zadok. Zadok in turn became father to Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz in turn became father to Azariah. Azariah in turn became father to Johanan. Johanan in turn became father to Azariah. He was the one that acted as priest in the house that Solomon built in Jerusalem. And Azariah came to be father to Amariah. Amariah in turn became father to Ahitub. Ahitub in turn became father to Zadok. Zadok in turn became father to Shallum. Shallum in turn became father to Hilkiah. Hilkiah in turn became father to Azariah. Azariah in turn became father to Sariah. Sariah in turn became father to Jehozadak. And Jehozadak it was that went away when Jehovah took Judah and Jerusalem into exile by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. The sons of Levi were Gershom, Kohath, and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershom, Libni and Shimei. And the sons of Kohath were Amram and Izhar and Hebron and Uzziel. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushi. And these were the families of the Levites by their forefathers. Of Gershom, Libni his son, Jahath his son, Zimmah his son, Joah his son, Iddo his son, Zerah his son, Jeatherai his son. The sons of Kohath were Aminadab his son, Korah his son, Asher his son, Elkanah his son, and Abiasaph his son, and Asher his son, Tahath his son, Uriel his son, Asaiah his son, and Shael his son. And the sons of Elkanah were Amasai and Ahimoth. As for Elkanah, the sons of Elkanah were Zophai his son, and Nahath his son, Eliab his son, Jeroham his son, Elkanah his son. And the sons of Samuel were the firstborn, Joel, and the second Abijah. The sons of Merari were Mahli, Libni his son, Shimei his son, Uzzah his son, Shimea his son, Haggiah his son, Asaiah his son. And these were the ones to whom David gave positions for the direction of the singing at the house of Jehovah, after the ark had a resting place. And they came to be ministers in the singing before the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, until Solomon built the house of Jehovah in Jerusalem. And they kept attending upon their service according to their commission. And these were those in attendance, and also their sons. Of the sons of the Kohathites, Heman the singer, the son of Joel, the son of Samuel, the son of Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Eliel, the son of Toah, the son of Zaph, the son of Elkanah, the son of Mahath, the son of Amasai, the son of Elkanah, the son of Joel, the son of Azariah, the son of Zephaniah, the son of Tahath, the son of Asser, the son of Abiasaph, the son of Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, the son of Israel. As for his brother Asaph, who was attending at his right, Asaph was the son of Berechiah, the son of Shimeah, the son of Michael, the son of Baaseiah, the son of Malchijah, the son of Ethni, the son of Zerah, the son of Adiah, the son of Ethan, the son of Zimmah, the son of Shimei, the son of Jahath, the son of Gershom, the son of Levi. As regards the sons of Merari, their brothers on the left hand, there was Ethan, the son of Kishai, the son of Abdi, the son of Malach, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Amaziah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Amzi, the son of Bani, the son of Shemer, the son of Malai, the son of Mushai, the son of Merari, the son of Levi. And their brothers the Levites were the ones given for all the service of the tabernacle of the house of the true God. And Aaron and his sons were making sacrificial smoke upon the altar of burnt offering, and upon the altar of incense for all the work of the most holy things, and to make atonement for Israel, according to all that Moses the servant of the true God had commanded. And these were the sons of Aaron: Eleazar his son, Phinehas his son, Abishua his son, Buckai his son, Azai his son, Zerahiah his son, Meraioth his son, Amariah his son, Ahitub his son, Zadok his son, Ahimaaz his son. And these were their dwelling places, by their walled camps in their territory, for the sons of Aaron belonging to the family of the Kohathites, for the lot had come to be theirs. Accordingly they gave them Hebron in the land of Judah with its pasture grounds all around it. And the field of the city and its settlements they gave to Caleb the son of Jephunneh. And to the sons of Aaron they gave the cities of refuge, Hebron and Libnah with its pasture grounds, and Jattir and Eshtemoa with its pasture grounds, and Highland with its pasture grounds, Debah with its pasture grounds, and Ashan with its pasture grounds, and Beth-shemesh with its pasture grounds. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Geba with its pasture grounds, and Alemeth with its pasture grounds, and Anathoth with its pasture grounds. All their cities were 13 cities among their families. And to the sons of Kohath that were left over they gave from the family of the tribe, from the half-tribe, the half of Manasseh, by the lot, 10 cities. And to the sons of Gershom by their families they gave from the tribe of Issachar, and from the tribe of Asher, and from the tribe of Naphtali, and from the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan, 13 cities. To the sons of Merari by their families they gave from the tribe of Reuben, and from the tribe of Gad, and from the tribe of Zebulun, by the lot, 12 cities. Thus the sons of Israel gave the Levites the cities with their pasture grounds. Furthermore, by the lot they gave from the tribe of the sons of Judah, and from the tribe of the sons of Simeon, and from the tribe of the sons of Benjamin these cities, which they proceeded to call by names. And some of the families of the sons of Kohath came to have the cities of their territory from the tribe of Ephraim. Accordingly they gave them the cities of refuge, Shechem with its pasture grounds, in the mountainous region of Ephraim, and Gezer with its pasture grounds, and Jokmeam with its pasture grounds, and Beth-horon with its pasture grounds, and Aijalon with its pasture grounds, and Gath-rimmon with its pasture grounds. And from half of the tribe of Manasseh, Aner with its pasture grounds, and Bileam with its pasture grounds, to the family of the sons of Kohath that were left over. And to the sons of Gershom they gave from the family of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan in Bashan with its pasture grounds, and Ashtaroth with its pasture grounds, and from the tribe of Issachar, Kedesh with its pasture grounds, and Daberath with its pasture grounds, and Ramoth with its pasture grounds, and Anam with its pasture grounds. And from the tribe of Asher, Mashal with its pasture grounds, and Abdon with its pasture grounds, and Hucock with its pasture grounds, and Rehob with its pasture grounds. And from the tribe of Naphtali, Kedesh in Galilee with its pasture grounds, and Hammon with its pasture grounds, and Kiriathaim with its pasture grounds. To the sons of Merari that were left over, they gave from the tribe of Zebulun Rimmono with its pasture grounds, Tabor with its pasture grounds, and in the region of the Jordan at Jericho to the east of the Jordan, from the tribe of Reuben, Bezer in the wilderness with its pasture grounds, and Jahaz with its pasture grounds, and Kedemoth with its pasture grounds, and Mephaath with its pasture grounds. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth in Gilead with its pasture grounds, and Mahanaim with its pasture grounds, and Heshbon with its pasture grounds, and Jazer with its pasture grounds. Chapter 7. Now the sons of Issachar were Tola and Pur, Jashub and Shimron, 4. And the sons of Tola were Azai and Rephaiah, and Jeriel, and Jarmai, and Ibsam, and Shemuel, heads of the house of their forefathers. Of Tola there were valiant mighty men by their descendants. Their number in the days of David was 22,600. And the sons of Azai were Izrahiah, and the sons of Izrahiah were Michael, and Obadiah, and Joel, Isshiah, 5, all of them being heads. And with them by their descendants, according to the house of their forefathers, there were troops of the army for war, 36,000, for they had many wives and sons. And their brothers of all the families of Issachar were valiant mighty men, 87,000, by the genealogical enrollment of them all. The sons of Benjamin were Bela and Becher, and Jediael, 3. And the sons of Bela were Esbon, and Azai, and Aziel, and Jeremoth, and Iri, 5, heads of the house of their forefathers, valiant mighty men, and their genealogical enrollment was 22,034. And the sons of Becher were Zemira, and Joash, and Eliezer, and Elioenai, and Omri, and Jeremoth, and Abijah, and Anathoth, and Alemeth, all these the sons of Becher. And their genealogical enrollment by their descendants as respects the heads of the house of their forefathers, valiant mighty men, was 20,200. And the sons of Jediael were Bilhan, and the sons of Bilhan were Jeush, and Benjamin, and Ehud, and Canaanah, and Zethan, and Tarshish, and Ahishahar. All these were the sons of Jediael, according to the heads of their forefathers, valiant mighty men, 17,200, going out to the army for war. And the Shoppim and the Huppim were the sons of Ir, the Hushim were the sons of Aher. The sons of Naphtali were Jaziel, and Gunai, and Jezer, and Shallum, the sons of Bilhah. The sons of Manasseh were Azriel, whom his Syrian concubine bore. She bore Machir, the father of Gilead. And Machir himself took a wife for Huppim and for Shuppim, and the name of his sister was Maacah. And the name of the second was Zelophehad, but Zelophehad came to have daughters. In time Maacah, Machir's wife, bore a son and called his name Peresh. And the name of his brother was Sheresh, and his sons were Ulam and Rechem. And the sons of Ulam were Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh. And his sister was Hammoleketh. She gave birth to Ishhod, and Abiezer, and Mala. And the sons of Shemida came to be Ahian, and Shechem, and Likhi, and Aniam. And the sons of Ephraim were Shuthelah, and Bered his son, and Tahath his son, and Eleadah his son, and Tahath his son, and Zabad his son, and Shuthelah his son, and Ezer, and Eliad, And the men of Gath that were born in the land killed them, because they came down to take their livestock. And Ephraim their father carried on mourning for many days, and his brothers kept coming in to comfort him. Afterward he had relations with his wife, so that she became pregnant, and gave birth to a son. But he called his name Beriah, because it was with calamity that she happened to be in his house. And his daughter was Sheerah, and she got to build Beth-horon, the lower and the upper, and Uzzen-sheerah. And there was Rephah his son, and Resheph, and Telah his son, and Tahan his son, Ladan his son, Ammihud his son, Elishama his son, Nun his son, Jehoshua his son. And their possession and their dwelling places were Bethel and its dependent towns, and to the east Naaran, and to the west Gezer and its dependent towns, and Shechem and its dependent towns, clear to Gaza and its dependent towns. And by the side of the sons of Manasseh, Beth-shean and its dependent towns, Taanach and its dependent towns, Megiddo and its dependent towns, Dor and its dependent towns. In these the sons of Joseph the son of Israel dwelt. The sons of Asher were Imnah, and Ishva, and Ishvi, and Beriah, and Serah was their sister. And the sons of Beriah were Heber, and Malchiel, who was the father of Beerzath. As for Heber, he became father to Japhlet, and Shomer, and Hotham, and to Shua their sister. And the sons of Japhlet were Pesach, and Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were the sons of Japhlet. And the sons of Shemer were Ahi and Rogah, Jehubbah and Aram. And the sons of Helem his brother were Zophah and Imnah, and Shelesh and Amal. The sons of Zophah were Suah, and Hanaphah, and Shual, and Beri, and Imrah, Bezer, and Hod, and Shammah, and Shilshah, and Ithran, and Beerah. And the sons of Jether were Jephannah, and Pispa, and Arah. And the sons of Allah were Arah, and Haniel, and Risiah. All these were the sons of Asher, heads of the house of the forefathers, select, valiant, mighty men, heads of the chieftains, and their genealogical enrollment was in the army in the war. Their number was 26,000 men. Chapter 8. As for Benjamin, he became father to Bela his firstborn, Ashbel the second, and Ahara the third, Noha the fourth, and Rapha the fifth. And Bela came to have sons, Adah, and Gera, and Abihud, and Abishua, and Naaman, and Ahoah, and Gera, and Shephufan, and Huram. And these were the sons of Ehud. These were the heads of the houses of forefathers belonging to the inhabitants of Geba, and they proceeded to take them into exile at Manahath. And Naaman, and Ahijah, and Gera, he was the one that took them into exile, and he became father to Uzzah and Ahihud. As for Shaharaim, he became father to children in the field of Moab, after he sent them away. Hushim and Beerah were his wives, and by Hodesh his wife he came to be father to Jobab and Zibiah, and Mesha and Malcolm, and Jeaz and Sachiah, and Mirmah. These were his sons, heads of the houses of forefathers. And by Hushim he became father to Abitub, and Elpaal. And the sons of Elpaal were Eber, and Misham, and Shemed, who built Ono, and Lod, and its dependent towns, and Beriah, and Shema. These were heads of the houses of forefathers belonging to the inhabitants of Aijalon. These were the ones that chased away the inhabitants of Gath. And there were Ahio, Shashak, and Jeremoth, and Zebediah, and Arad, and Eder, and Michael, and Ishbah, and Joha, the sons of Beriah, and Zebediah, and Meshullam, and Hiskai, and Heber, and Ishmerai, and Isliah, and Jobab, the sons of Elpaal, and Jakim, and Zichri, and Zabdi, and Elienai, and Zilathai, and Eliel, and Adiah, and Bereiah, and Shimrath, the sons of Shimei, and Ishpan, and Eber, and Eliel, and Abdon, and Zichri, and Hanan, and Hananiah, and Elam, and Anthothijah, and Ifdeah, and Penuel, the sons of Shashak, and Shamsherai, and Shehariah, and Athaliah, and Jearishiah, and Elijah, and Zichri, the sons of Jeroham. These were heads of the houses of forefathers by their descendants, headmen. These were the ones that dwelt in Jerusalem. And it was in Gibeon that the father of Gibeon, Jeiel, dwelt, and his wife's name was Maacah. And his son, the firstborn, was Abdon, and Zur, and Kish, and Baal, and Nadab, and Gedor, and Ahio, and Zekah. As for Mikloth, he became father to Shimeah, and these really were the ones that dwelt in front of their brothers in Jerusalem, along with brothers of theirs. As for Ner, he became father to Kish. Kish in turn became father to Saul. Saul in turn became father to Jonathan, and Malchishua, and Abinadab, and Eshbaal. And Jonathan's son was Merib-Baal. As for Merib-Baal, he became father to Micah. And the sons of Micah were Pithon, and Melech, and Tariah, and Ahaz. As for Ahaz, he became father to Jehoiada. Jehoiada in turn became father to Alimeth, and Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri in turn became father to Mosa. Mosa in turn became father to Binia. Rapha his son, Eleazar his son, Azel his son. And Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bokeru, and Ishmael, and Sheariah, and Obadiah, and Hanan. All these were the sons of Azel. And the sons of Eshek his brother were Ulam his firstborn, Jeash the second, and Eliphalet the third. And the sons of Ulam came to be valiant mighty men, bending the bow, and having many sons and grandsons, 150. All these were from the sons of Benjamin. Chapter 9. As for all Israelites, they were enrolled genealogically, and there they are written in the book of the kings of Israel. And Judah itself was taken into exile at Babylon for their unfaithfulness. And the first inhabitants that were in their possession in their cities were the Israelites, the priests, the Levites, and the Nethinim. And in Jerusalem there dwelt some of the sons of Judah, and some of the sons of Benjamin, and some of the sons of Ephraim and of Manasseh. Uthai, the son of Ammihud, the son of Omri, the son of Imri, the son of Bani, of the sons of Perez, the son of Judah. And of the Shilonites, Asaiah the firstborn and his sons. And of the sons of Zerah, Jeuel, and 690 brothers of theirs. And of the sons of Benjamin, Sallu the son of Meshullam, the son of Hodaviah, the son of Hasenuah, and Ibniah the son of Jeroham, and Elah the son of Azai, the son of Michri, and Meshullam the son of Shephatiah, the son of Ruel, the son of Ibnijah. And the brothers of theirs by their descendants were 956. All these were men that were heads of the fathers by the house of their forefathers. And of the priests there were Jedaiah, and Jehoiarib, and Jachin, and Azariah the son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Meraioth, the son of Ahitub, a leader of the house of the true God, and Adiah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Pashhur, the son of Malchijah, and Maasai, the son of Adiel, the son of Jazerah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Meshillemeth, the son of Immer, and their brothers, heads of the house of their forefathers, 1,760, mighty men of ability for the work of the service of the house of the true God. And of the Levites there were Shemaiah the son of Hashab, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah from the sons of Merari, and Bakbakar, Heresh, and Galal, and Mattaniah the son of Micah, the son of Zichri, the son of Asaph, and Obadiah, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, the son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who was dwelling in the settlements of the Netophathites. And the gatekeepers were Shallum, and Achab, and Talmon, and Ahiman, and their brother Shallum the head. And up till then he was in the king's gate to the east. These were the gatekeepers of the camps of the sons of Levi. And Shallum the son of Korah, the son of Ebiasaph, the son of Korah, and his brothers of the house of his father the Korahites, over the work of the service, the doorkeepers of the tent, and their fathers over the camp of Jehovah, the keepers of the entryway. And it was Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, that happened to be leader over them in the past. Jehovah was with him. Zechariah, the son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper of the entrance of the tent of meeting. All of them who were selected as gatekeepers at the thresholds were 212. They were in their settlements by their genealogical enrollment. These David and Samuel the seer ordained in their office of trust. And they and their sons were over the gates of the house of Jehovah, even the house of the tent for guard service. It was to the four directions that the gatekeepers came to be, to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south. And their brothers and their settlements were to come in for 7 days from time to time, along with these. For in office of trust there were 4 mighty men of the gatekeepers. They were Levites, and they proved to be in charge of the dining rooms and of the treasures of the house of the true God. And all around the house of the true God they would spend the night, for guard service was upon them, and they were in charge of the key, even to open up from morning to morning. And some of them were in charge of the utensils of the service, for it was by number that they would bring them in, and it was by number that they would take them out. And some of them were men appointed over the utensils, and over all the holy utensils, and over the fine flour, and the wine, and the oil, and the frankincense, and the balsam oil. And some of the sons of the priests were makers of the ointment mixture of balsam oil. And Mattathiah of the Levites, who was the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, was in the office of trust over the things baked in pans. And some of the sons of the Kohathites, their brothers, were in charge of the layer bread, to prepare it Sabbath by Sabbath. And these were the singers, the heads of the fathers of the Levites in the dining rooms, those set free from duty, for by day and by night it was their responsibility to be in the work. These were the heads of the fathers of the Levites by their descendants, headmen. These were the ones that dwelt in Jerusalem. And in Gibeon was where the father of Gibeon, Jeiel, dwelt, and his wife's name was Maacah. And his son the firstborn was Abdon, and Sur, and Kish, and Baal, and Ner, and Nadab, and Gedor, and Ahio, and Zechariah, and Mikloth. As for Mikloth, he became father to Shimeam, and it was really they that dwelt in front of their brothers in Jerusalem, along with brothers of theirs. As for Ner, he became father to Kish. Kish in turn became father to Saul. Saul in turn became father to Jonathan, and Malchishua, and Abinadab, and Eshbaal. And the son of Jonathan was Merib-Baal. As for Merib-Baal, he became father to Micah. And the sons of Micah were Pithon, and Melech, and Tariah, and Ahaz. As for Ahaz, he became father to Jerah. Jerah in turn became father to Alemeth, and Asmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri in turn became father to Mosa. As for Mosa, he became father to Benia, and Rephaiah his son, Eleazar his son, Azel his son. And Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names, Azrikam, Bokeru, and Ishmael, and Sheariah, and Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Chapter 10. And the Philistines for their part made war upon Israel. And the men of Israel went fleeing from before the Philistines, and kept falling slain in Mount Gilboa. And the Philistines kept in close range of Saul and his sons. And the Philistines got to strike down Jonathan and Abinadab and Malchishua, sons of Saul. And the fighting became heavy against Saul, and those shooting with the bow finally found him, and he got wounded by the shooters. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through with it, that these uncircumcised men may not come and certainly deal abusively with me." And his armor-bearer was unwilling, because he was very much afraid. So Saul took the sword and fell upon it. When his armor-bearer saw that Saul had died, then he too fell upon the sword and died. Thus Saul and 3 sons of his died, and all those of his house died together. When all the men of Israel that were in the low plain saw that they had fled, and that Saul and his sons had died, then they began to leave their cities and flee, after which the Philistines came on in and took up dwelling in them. And it came about the next day that when the Philistines came to strip the slain, they got to find Saul and his sons fallen upon Mount Gilboa. And they proceeded to strip him and take off his head and his armor, and send into the land of the Philistines all around to inform their idols and the people. Finally they put his armor in the house of their god, and his skull they fastened to the house of Dagon. And all those of Jabesh in Gilead got to hear of all that the Philistines had done to Saul. So all the valiant men rose up and carried off the corpse of Saul and the corpses of his sons, and brought them to Jabesh, and buried their bones under the big tree in Jabesh. And they went fasting for 7 days. Thus Saul died for his unfaithfulness with which he had acted faithlessly against Jehovah, concerning the word of Jehovah that he had not kept, and also for asking of a spirit medium to make inquiry, and he did not inquire of Jehovah. Consequently he put him to death, and turned the kingship over to David, the son of Jesse. Chapter 11. In time, all the Israelites collected themselves together to David at Hebron, saying, "Look, we are your bone and your flesh. Both yesterday and previously, even while Saul happened to be king, you were the one leading Israel out and bringing it in. And Jehovah your God proceeded to say to you, You yourself will shepherd my people Israel, and you yourself will become leader over my people Israel." So all the older men of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and David concluded a covenant with them in Hebron before Jehovah. After which they anointed David as king over Israel, according to Jehovah's word, by means of Samuel. Later, David and all Israel went to Jerusalem, that is to say, Jebus, where the Jebusites were the inhabitants of the land. And the inhabitants of Jebus began to say to David, "You will not come in here." Just the same, David proceeded to capture the stronghold of Zion, that is to say, the city of David. So David said, "Anyone striking the Jebusites first, he will become head and prince." And Joab the son of Zeruiah got to go up first, and he came to be head. And David took up dwelling in the place difficult to approach. That is why they called it the city of David. And he began to build the city all around, from the mound even to the parts round about. But Joab himself brought to life the rest of the city. And David went on getting greater and greater, for Jehovah of armies was with him. Now these are the heads of the mighty men that belonged to David, holding strongly with him in his kingship together with all Israel, to make him king according to Jehovah's word concerning Israel. And this is the list of the mighty men that belonged to David: Jashobeam the son of a Hachmonite, the head of the 3. He was brandishing his spear over 300 slain at one time. And after him there was Eleazar, the son of Dodo, the Ahohite. He was among the 3 mighty men. He it was that happened to be with David at Pasdammim, where the Philistines had gathered themselves together for war. Now there happened to be a tract of the field full of barley, and the people for their part had fled because of the Philistines. But he took his stand in the middle of the tract and delivered it, and kept striking down the Philistines, so that Jehovah saved with a great salvation. And 3 of the 30 head ones proceeded to go down to the rock, to David, at the cave of Adullam, while a camp of the Philistines was camping in the low plain of Rephaim. And David was then in the place hard to approach, and a garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. After a while David showed his craving, and said, "Oh, that I might have a drink of the water from the cistern of Bethlehem, which is at the gate." At that, the 3 forced their way into the camp of the Philistines, and drew water from the cistern of Bethlehem, which is at the gate, and came carrying and bringing it to David. And David did not consent to drink it, but poured it out to Jehovah. And he went on to say, "It is unthinkable on my part as regards my God to do this. Is it the blood of these men that I should drink at the risk of their souls? For it was at the risk of their souls that they brought it." And he did not consent to drink it. These are the things that the 3 mighty men did. As for Abishai, the brother of Joab, he himself became head of the 3, and he was brandishing his spear over 300 slain, and he had a reputation like the 3. Of the 3 he was more distinguished than the 2 others, and he came to be a chief to them, and yet he did not come up to the first 3. As for Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man, who did many deeds in Kabzeel, he himself struck down the 2 sons of Ariel of Moab, and he himself descended and struck down a lion inside a water pit in the day of snowfall. And he it was that struck down the Egyptian man, a man of extraordinary size, of 5 cubits, and in the hand of the Egyptian there was a spear like the beam of loom workers. Yet he went on down to him with a rod, and snatched the spear away from the Egyptian's hand, and killed him with his own spear. These things Benaiah the son of Jehoiada did, and he had a name among the 3 mighty men. Although he was more distinguished than the 30, yet to the rank of the first 3 he did not come. However, David put him over his own bodyguard. As for the mighty men of the military forces, there were Asahel the brother of Joab, Elhanan the son of Dodo of Bethlehem, Shamoth the Hararite, Helez the Pelonite, Ira the son of Ikesh the Tekoite, Abiezer the Anathothite, Sibbecai the Hushathite, Eli the Ahohite, Meharai the Netophathite, Heled the son of Baanah the Netophathite, Ithai the son of Ribai of Gibeah, of the sons of Benjamin, Benaiah the Pirathonite, Hurai from the torrent valleys of Gaash, Abiel the Arbathite, Asmaveth the Baharamite, Eliahaba the Shahalbanite, the sons of Hashem the Gizonite, Jonathan the son of Shagi the Hararite, Ahiam the son of Sakar the Hararite, Eliphal the son of Hepher the Machirathite, Ahijah the Pelonite, Hezro the Carmelite, Naarai the son of Ezbai, Joel the brother of Nathan, Mibhar the son of Hagri, Zelek the Ammonite, Naharai the Berothite, the armor-bearer of Joab the son of Zeruiah, Ira the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad the son of Ali, Adonah the son of Shiza the Reubenite, ahead of the Reubenites by whom there were 30, Hanan the son of Maacah, and Joshaphat the Mithnite, Azariah the Ashtarothite, Shema and Jeiel the sons of Hotham the Aroerite, Jediael the son of Shimri, and Joha his brother the Tizite, Eliel the Mahavite, and Jerubai and Joshaviah, the sons of Elnaam, and Ithma the Moabite, Eliel and Obed, and Jaasiel the Mesobite. Chapter 12. And these are the ones that came to David at Ziklag, while he was still under restrictions because of Saul the son of Kish. And they were among the mighty men, the helpers in the warfare, armed with the bow, using the right hand and using the left hand with stones or with arrows in the bow. They were of the brothers of Saul of Benjamin. There was the head Ahiezer and Joash, the sons of Shemaiah the Gibeathite, and Jeziel and Pelet, the sons of Asmaveth, and Berakah and Jehu the Anathothite, and Ishmaiah the Gibeonite, a mighty man among the 30 and over the 30, and Jeremiah and Jahaziel, and Johanan, and Jozabad the Gederathite, Eluzai and Jeremoth, and Baaliah, and Shemariah, and Shephatiah the Haraphite, Elkanah, and Isshiah, and Azarel, and Joezer, and Jashobeam the Korahites, and Joelah and Zebadiah, the sons of Jeroham of Gedor. And there were some of the Gadites that separated themselves to David's side at the place difficult to approach in the wilderness, valiant, mighty men, army men for the war, keeping the large shield and the lance ready, whose faces were the faces of lions, and they were like the gazelles upon the mountains for speed. Ezer was the head, Obadiah the second, Eliab the third, Mishmannah the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attai the sixth, Eliel the seventh, Johanan the eighth, Elzabad the ninth, Jeremiah the 10th, Machbanai the 11th. These were of the sons of Gad, heads of the army. The least one was equal to 100, and the greatest to 1,000. These are the ones that crossed the Jordan in the first month when it was overflowing all its banks, and they then chased away all those of the low plains to the east and to the west. And some of the sons of Benjamin and Judah proceeded to come clear to the place difficult to approach, to David. Then David went out before them, and answered and said to them, If it is for peace that you have come to me to help me, my own heart will become at unity with you. But if it is to betray me to my adversaries when there is no wrong on my palms, let the God of our forefathers see to it, and set it in order. And spirit itself enveloped Amasai, the head of the 30. Yours we are, O David, and with you we are, O son of Jesse. Peace, peace be yours, and peace to the one helping you, for your God has helped you. So David received them, and put them among the heads of the troops. And there were some of Manasseh that deserted to David when he came with the Philistines against Saul for battle. But he did not help them, for on counsel the Axis lords of the Philistines sent him away, saying, At the risk of our own heads he will desert to his lord Saul. When he came to Ziklag, there deserted to him from Manasseh Adnah, and Jozabad, and Jediael, and Michael, and Jozabad, and Elihu, and Zillethai, heads of the thousands that belonged to Manasseh. And they for their part were of help to David against the marauder band, because all of them were mighty men of valor, and they came to be chiefs in the army. For day by day people kept coming to David to help him, until it was a great camp, like the camp of God. And these were the numbers of the heads of those equipped for the army that came to David at Hebron to turn the kingship of Saul over to him according to Jehovah's order. The sons of Judah, carrying the large shield and the lance, were 6,800, equipped for the army. Of the sons of Simeon, the mighty men of valor of the army were 7,100. Of the sons of the Levites, 4,600. And Jehoiada was the leader of the sons of Aaron. and with him there were 3,700. Also Zadok, a young man, mighty in valor, and the house of his forefathers, 22 chiefs. And of the sons of Benjamin, the brothers of Saul, there were 3,000, and up till then the greater number of them were keeping strict watch of the house of Saul. And of the sons of Ephraim there were 20,800, mighty men of valor, men of fame, by the house of their forefathers. And of the half-tribe of Manasseh there were 18,000 that had been designated by name to come to make David king. And of the sons of Issachar, having a knowledge of how to discern the times, to know what Israel ought to do, there were 200 head ones of theirs, and all their brothers were at their orders. Of Zebulun, those going out to the army, drawing up in battle formation, with all the weapons of war, there were 50,000, and for flocking together to David, they were not of a double heart. And of Naphtali there were 1,000 chiefs, and with them with the large shield and the spear there were 37,000. And of the Danites, those drawing up in battle formation, were 28,600. And of Asher, those going out to the army for drawing up in battle formation, were 40,000. And from across the Jordan of the Reubenites and the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, with all the weapons of the military army, there were 120,000. All these were men of war, flocking together in battle line. With a complete heart they came to Hebron to make David king over all Israel. And also all the remainder of Israel were of one heart for making David king. And they continued there with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brothers had made preparation for them. And also those near to them, as far as Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, were bringing food upon asses, and upon camels, and upon mules, and upon cattle, eatables of flour, cakes of pressed figs, and cakes of raisins, and wine and oil, and cattle and sheep, in great quantity. For there was rejoicing in Israel. Chapter 13. And David proceeded to consult with the chiefs of the thousands, and of the hundreds, and with every leader. And David went on to say to all the congregation of Israel, If it seems good to you, and it is acceptable with Jehovah our God, let us send to our brothers that are left over in all the lands of Israel, and with them to the priests and the Levites in their cities with pasture grounds, that they may collect themselves together to us. And let us bring the ark of our God around to ourselves. For they had not cared for it in the days of Saul. So all the congregation said to do that way, for the thing seemed right in the eyes of all the people. Accordingly, David congregated all Israel from the river of Egypt as far as the entering of Hamath, to bring the ark of the true God from Kiriath-Jearim. And David and all Israel proceeded to go up to Baalah, to Kiriath-Jearim, which belongs to Judah, to bring up from there the ark of the true God, Jehovah, sitting on the cherubs, where his name is called on. However, they had the ark of the true God ride upon a new wagon from the house of Abinadab, and Uzzah and Ahio were leading the wagon. And David and all Israel were celebrating before the true God with full power, and with songs, and with harps, and with stringed instruments, and with tambourines, and with cymbals, and with trumpets. And they came gradually as far as the threshing floor of Kidon. And Uzzah now thrust his hand out to grab hold of the ark, for the bulls nearly caused an upset. At that, Jehovah's anger blazed against Uzzah, so that he struck him down, because he had thrust his hand out upon the ark, and he died there before God. And David became angry because Jehovah had broken through in a rupture against Uzzah, and that place came to be called Perez Uzzah, down to this day. And David became afraid of the true God on that day, saying, how shall I bring the ark of the true God to me? And David did not remove the ark to himself at the city of David, but he carried it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of the true God kept dwelling with the household of Obed-Edom at his house 3 months, and Jehovah kept blessing the household of Obed-Edom and all that was his. Chapter 14. And Hiram the king of Tyre proceeded to send messengers to David, and cedar timbers, and builders of walls, and workers in wood, to build him a house. And David came to know that Jehovah had firmly established him as king over Israel, for his kingship was highly exalted on account of his people Israel. And David went on to take more wives in Jerusalem, and David came to be father to more sons and daughters. And these are the names of the children that became his in Jerusalem: Shammua and Shobab, Nathan and Solomon, and Ibhar and Elishua, and Elpelet, and Nogah, and Nepheg, and Japhiah, and Elishama, and Baaliada, and Eliphelet. And the Philistines got to hear that David had been anointed as king over all Israel. At that, all the Philistines came up to look for David. When David heard of it, then he went out against them. And the Philistines for their part came in, and kept making raids in the low plain of Rephaim. And David began to inquire of God, saying, Shall I go up against the Philistines, and will you certainly give them into my hand? At this Jehovah said to him, Go up, and I shall certainly give them into your hand. So David went up to Baal-perazim, and there got to strike them down. At that David said, The true God has broken through my enemies by my hand like a gap made by waters. That is why they called the name of that place Baal-perazim. Consequently they left their gods there. Then David said the word, and so they were burned in the fire. Later the Philistines once again made a raid in the low plain. At that David inquired again of God, and the true God now said to him, You must not go up after them. Go around from directly against them, and you must come at them in front of the baker bushes. And let it occur that when you hear the sound of the marching in the tops of the baker bushes, then you go out into the fight, because the true God will have gone out before you to strike the camp of the Philistines down. So David did just as the true God had commanded him, and they went striking down the camp of the Philistines from Gibeon to Gezer. And David's fame began to go out into all the lands, and Jehovah himself put the dread of him upon all the nations. Chapter 15. And he continued building houses for himself in the city of David. And he went on to prepare a place for the ark of the true God, and pitch a tent for it. It was then that David said, No one is to carry the ark of the true God but the Levites, for they are the ones whom Jehovah has chosen to carry the ark of Jehovah, and to minister to him to time indefinite. Then David congregated all Israel at Jerusalem to bring the ark of Jehovah up to its place that he had prepared for it. And David proceeded to gather the sons of Aaron and the Levites. Of the sons of Kohath, Uriel the chief and his brothers, 120. Of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the chief and his brothers, 220. Of the sons of Gershom, Joel the chief and his brothers, 130. Of the sons of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the chief and his brothers, 200. Of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the chief and his brothers, 80. Of the sons of Azael, Aminadab the chief and his brothers, 112. Furthermore, David called Zadok and Abiathar the priests, and the Levites, Uriel, Asaiah, and Joel, Shemaiah, and Eliel, and Aminadab. And he went on to say to them, You are the heads of the fathers of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, you and your brothers, and you must bring the ark of Jehovah the God of Israel up to the place that I have prepared for it. Because at the first time you did not, Jehovah our God broke through against us, for we did not search after him according to the custom. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of Jehovah the God of Israel. Then the sons of the Levites began to carry the ark of the true God, just as Moses had commanded by Jehovah's word, upon their shoulders with the rods upon them. David now said to the chiefs of the Levites to station their brothers the singers with the instruments of song, stringed instruments and harps and cymbals, playing aloud to cause a sound of rejoicing to arise. Accordingly the Levites stationed Heman the son of Joel, and of his brothers Asaph the son of Berechiah, and of the sons of Merari their brothers Ethan the son of Kashiah, and with them their brothers of the second division Zechariah, Ben, and Jaaziel, and Shemiramoth, and Jehiel, and Ani, Eliab, and Benaiah, and Maaseiah, and Mattathiah, and Eliphelehu, and Micneiah, and Obed-Edom, and Jeiel, the gatekeepers, and the singers, Heman, Asaph, and Ethan, with the copper cymbals to play aloud. And Zechariah, and Aziel, and Shemiramoth, and Jehiel, and Ani, and Eliab, and Maaseiah, and Benaiah, with stringed instruments, tuned to Alamoth, and Mattathiah, and Eliphelehu, and Micneiah, and Obed-Edom, and Jeiel, and Azaziah with harps, tuned to Sheminith to act as directors, and Kenaniah, the chief of the Levites, in carrying, he giving instruction in carrying, for he was expert, and Berechiah, and Elkanah, the gatekeepers for the ark, and Shebaniah, and Joshaphat, and Nathanael, and Amasai, and Zechariah, and Benaiah, and Eleazar the priests, loudly sounding the trumpets before the ark of the true God, and Obed-Edom, and Jehiah the gatekeepers for the ark. And David and the older men of Israel, and the chiefs of the thousands, came to be the ones walking along to bring up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah from the house of Obed-Edom with rejoicing. And it came about, when the true God helped the Levites while carrying the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, that they proceeded to sacrifice 7 young bulls and 7 rams. And David was dressed in a sleeveless coat of fine fabric, and also all the Levites carrying the ark, and the singers, and Kenaniah the chief of the carrying by the singers. But upon David there was an ephod of linen. And all the Israelites were bringing up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah with joyful shouting, and with the sounding of the horn, and with trumpets, and with cymbals, playing aloud on stringed instruments and harps. And it came about that when the ark of the covenant of Jehovah came as far as the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, herself looked down through the window, and got to see King David skipping about and celebrating. And she began to despise him in her heart. Chapter 16. Thus they brought the ark of the true God in, and placed it inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And they began to present burnt offerings and communion sacrifices before the true God. When David finished offering up the burnt offering and the communion sacrifices, he went on to bless the people in the name of Jehovah. Further, he apportioned to all the Israelites, man as well as woman, to each one, a round loaf of bread, and a date cake, and a raisin cake. Then he put before the ark of Jehovah some of the Levites as ministers, both to call to remembrance and to thank and praise Jehovah, the God of Israel, Asaph the head, and second to him Zechariah, and Jeiel, and Shemiramoth, and Jehiel, and Mattathiah, and Eliab, and Benaiah, and Obed-Edom, and Jeiel, with instruments of the string type, and with harps, and Asaph with the cymbals playing aloud, and Benaiah, and Jehaziel the priests, with the trumpets constantly before the ark of the covenant of the true God. It was then on that day that David made a contribution for the first time to thank Jehovah by means of Asaph and his brothers. Give thanks to Jehovah, you people. Call upon his name. Make his deeds known among the peoples. Sing to him. Make melody to him. Concern yourselves with all his wonderful acts. Make your boast in his holy name. Let the heart of those seeking Jehovah rejoice. Search after Jehovah and his strength. Seek his face constantly. Remember his wonderful acts that he has performed, his miracles and the judicial decisions of his mouth, O offspring of Israel his servant, you sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Jehovah our God. In all the earth are his judicial decisions. Remember his covenant even to time indefinite, the word that he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he concluded with Abraham, and his sworn statement to Isaac, and which statement he kept standing as a regulation even to Jacob, as an indefinitely lasting covenant even to Israel, saying, To you I shall give the land of Canaan, as the allotment of your inheritance. This was when you happened to be few in number, yes, very few, and alien residents in it. And they kept walking about from nation to nation, and from one kingdom to another people. He did not allow anyone to defraud them, but on their account he reproved kings, saying, Do not you men touch my anointed ones, and to my prophets do nothing bad. Sing to Jehovah, all you of the earth. Announce from day to day the salvation he gives. Relate among the nations his glory, among all the peoples his wonderful acts. For Jehovah is great, and very much to be praised, and he is to be feared more than all other gods. For all the gods of the peoples are valueless gods. As for Jehovah, he made the heavens. Dignity and splendor are before him. Strength and joy are at his place. Attribute to Jehovah, O families of peoples. Attribute to Jehovah glory and strength. Attribute to Jehovah the glory of his name. Carry a gift and come in before him. Bow down to Jehovah in holy adornment. Be in severe pains on account of him, all you people of the earth. Also the productive land is firmly established. Never will it be made to totter. Let the heavens rejoice, and let the earth be joyful, and let them say among the nations, Jehovah himself has become king. Let the sea thunder, and also that which fills it. Let the field exult, and all that is in it. At the same time, let the trees of the forest break out joyfully on account of Jehovah, for he has come to judge the earth. Give thanks to Jehovah, you people, for he is good. For to time indefinite is his loving kindness. And say, Save us, O God of our salvation, and collect us together and deliver us from the nations, to give thanks to your holy name, to speak exultingly in your praise. Blessed be Jehovah, the God of Israel, from time indefinite to time indefinite. And all the people proceeded to say, Amen, and a praise to Jehovah. Then he left there before the ark of the covenant of Jehovah Asaph and his brothers to minister before the ark constantly, according to the requirement of each day, and Obed-Edom and his brothers 68, and Obed-Edom the son of Jeduthun, and Hosah, as gatekeepers, and Zadok the priest and his brothers, the priests before the tabernacle of Jehovah, on the high place that was at Gibeon, to offer up burnt offerings to Jehovah on the altar of burnt offering, constantly, morning and evening, and for all that is written in the law of Jehovah that he laid in command upon Israel. And with them Heman and Jeduthun, and the rest of the select men that were designated by names to thank Jehovah, because to time indefinite is his loving kindness. And with them Heman and Jeduthun, to sound forth the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of the song of the true God, and the sons of Jeduthun at the gate. And all the people proceeded to go each one to his own house. Accordingly David went around to bless his own house. Chapter 17. And it came about that as soon as David had begun dwelling in his own house, David proceeded to say to Nathan the prophet, Here I am dwelling in a house of cedars, but the ark of the covenant of Jehovah is under tent cloths. Upon that Nathan said to David, Everything that is in your heart do, for the true God is with you. And it came about on that night that the word of God came to Nathan, saying, Go, and you must say to David my servant, This is what Jehovah has said. It will not be you that will build me the house in which to dwell, for I have not dwelt in a house from the day that I brought Israel up until this day, but I continued from tent to tent, and from one tabernacle to another. During all the time that I walked about in all Israel, did I speak a single word with one of the judges of Israel whom I commanded to shepherd my people, saying, Why have you men not built me a house of cedars? And now this is what you will say to my servant David. This is what Jehovah of armies has said. I myself took you from the pasture ground, from following the flock, to become a leader over my people Israel. And I shall prove to be with you wherever you do walk, and I shall cut off all your enemies from before you. And I shall certainly make for you a name like the name of the great ones that are upon the earth. And I shall certainly appoint a place for my people Israel, and plant them. And they will indeed reside where they are, and no more will they be disturbed. And the sons of unrighteousness will not wear them out again, just as they did at the first, even since the days that I put judges in command over my people Israel. And I shall certainly humble all your enemies. And I tell you, also a house Jehovah will build for you. And it must occur that when your days have come to the full for you, to go to be with your forefathers, I shall certainly raise up your seed after you, that will come to be one of your sons, and I shall indeed firmly establish his kingship. He is the one that will build me a house, and I shall certainly establish his throne firmly to time indefinite. I myself shall become his father, and he himself will become my son, and my loving kindness I shall not remove from him the way I removed it from the one that happened to be prior to you. And I will cause him to stand in my house and in my kingship to time indefinite, and his throne will itself become one lasting to time indefinite. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, was the way that Nathan spoke to David. After that, King David came in and sat down before Jehovah and said, Who am I, O Jehovah God? And what is my house that you have brought me thus far? As though this should be something little in your eyes, O God. Yet you speak concerning the house of your servant down to a distant future time, and you have looked on me according to the opportunity of the man in the ascendancy, O Jehovah God. What more could David say to you as to honoring your servant, when you yourself know your servant well? O Jehovah, for the sake of your servant, and in agreement with your own heart, you have done all these great things by making all the great achievements known. O Jehovah, there is none like you, and there is no God except you in connection with all that we have heard with our ears. And what other nation in the earth is like your people Israel, whom the true God went to redeem to himself as a people, to assign to yourself a name of great achievements and fear-inspiring things by driving out nations from before your people, whom you have redeemed from Egypt? And you proceeded to constitute your people Israel as your people to time indefinite, and you yourself, O Jehovah, became their God. And now, O Jehovah, let the word that you have spoken concerning your servant and concerning his house prove faithful to time indefinite, and do just as you have spoken. And let your name prove faithful and become great to time indefinite, saying, Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, is God to Israel. And let the house of David your servant be one lasting before you. For you yourself, my God, have revealed to your servant the purpose to build him a house. That is why your servant has found occasion to pray before you. And now, O Jehovah, you are the true God, and you promised this goodness concerning your servant. And now you must take it upon yourself and bless the house of your servant, for it to continue to time indefinite before you. For you yourself, O Jehovah, have blessed, and it is blessed to time indefinite. Chapter 18. And it came about afterward that David proceeded to strike down the Philistines and subdue them, and take Gath and its dependent towns out of the hand of the Philistines. Then he struck Moab down, and the Moabites came to be David's servants, bearing tribute. And David went on to strike down Hadadezer, the king of Zobah, at Hamath, as he was going his way to set up his control at the river Euphrates. Further, David captured from him 1,000 chariots, and 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 men on foot. Then David hamstrung all the chariot horses, but he let 100 chariot horses of them remain. When Syria of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, the king of Zobah, David went striking down among the Syrians 22,000 men. After that, David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians came to be David's servants, bearing tribute. And Jehovah kept giving salvation to David wherever he went. Moreover, David took the circular shields of gold that happened to be on the servants of Hadadezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Tibhath and Cun, cities of Hadadezer, David took very much copper. With it Solomon made the copper sea, and the pillars, and the copper utensils. When Tou, the king of Hamath, heard that David had struck down all the military force of Hadadezer, the king of Zobah, he immediately sent Hadoram, his son, to King David to ask him about his welfare and congratulate him over the fact that he had fought against Hadadezer, so that he struck him down, for Hadadezer had become trained in warfare against Tou, and there were with him all sorts of articles of gold and silver and copper. These also King David sanctified to Jehovah, together with the silver and the gold that he had carried off from all the nations, from Edom and from Moab, and from the sons of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. As for Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, he struck down the Edomites in the valley of Salt, 18,000. So he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites came to be David's servants. And Jehovah kept saving David wherever he went. And David continued to reign over all Israel, and he was continually rendering judicial decision and righteousness for all his people. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the army, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. And Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were priests, and Shevshah was secretary. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerethites and the Pelethites. And the sons of David were the first in position at the side of the king. Chapter 19. And it came about afterward that Nahash the king of the sons of Ammon came to die, and his son began to reign in place of him. At that David said, I shall exercise loving kindness toward Hanun the son of Nahash, because his father exercised loving kindness toward me. Accordingly David sent messengers to comfort him over his father, and the servants of David proceeded to come into the land of the sons of Ammon to Hanun to comfort him. However, the princes of the sons of Ammon said to Hanun, Is David honoring your father in your eyes, in that he has sent comforters to you? Is it not for the sake of making a thorough search, and causing an overthrow, and for spying out the land that his servants have come into you? So Hanun took the servants of David and shaved them, and cut their garments in half to their buttocks, and sent them away. Later people went and told David about the men, and he at once sent to meet them, because they had become men very much humiliated. And the king went on to say, Dwell in Jericho until your beards grow abundantly. Then you must return. In time, the sons of Ammon saw that they had become foul-smelling to David. And Hanun and the sons of Ammon proceeded to send 1,000 silver talents to hire for themselves chariots and horsemen from Mesopotamia, and from Aram-Maacah, and from Zobar. Thus they hired for themselves 32,000 chariots, and the king of Maacah and his people. Then they came in and camped before Medeba, and as for the sons of Ammon, they gathered together from their cities, and now came in for the war. When David heard of it, he immediately sent Joab and all the army and the mighty men. And the sons of Ammon began to go out and draw up in battle formation at the entrance of the city. And the kings that had come were by themselves in the open field. When Joab saw that the battle charges had come to be against him from the front and from the rear, he at once chose some of all the choice men in Israel, and drew them up in formation to meet the Syrians. And the rest of the people he gave into the hand of Abishai his brother, that they might draw up in formation to meet the sons of Ammon. And he went on to say, If the Syrians become too strong for me, you must also serve as a salvation for me. But if the sons of Ammon themselves become too strong for you, I must also save you. Be strong, that we may show ourselves courageous in behalf of our people and in behalf of the cities of our God. And as for Jehovah, what is good in his own eyes he will do. Then Joab and the people that were with him advanced before the Syrians to the battle, and they took to flight from before him. As for the sons of Ammon, they saw that the Syrians had fled, and they themselves also took to flight from before Abishai his brother, and then came into the city. Later Joab came into Jerusalem. When the Syrians saw that they had been defeated before Israel, they proceeded to send messengers and bring out the Syrians that were in the region of the river, with Shophach, the chief of the army of Hadadezer, before them. When the report was made to David, he immediately gathered all Israel together, and crossed the Jordan, and came to them, and drew up in formation against them. When David drew up in battle formation to meet the Syrians, they began to fight against him. But the Syrians took to flight because of Israel, and David went killing of the Syrians 7,000 charioteers, and 40,000 men on foot, and Shophak, the chief of the army himself, he put to death. When the servants of Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated before Israel, they promptly made peace with David and began to serve him. And Syria did not want to try saving the sons of Ammon any more. Chapter 20. And it came about at the time of the year's return, at the time that kings sally forth, that Joab proceeded to lead the combat force of the army, and lay the land of the sons of Ammon in ruin, and to come and besiege Rabbah, while David was dwelling in Jerusalem. And Joab went on to strike Rabbah, and throw it down. But David took the crown of Malcham off its head, and found it to be a talent of gold in weight, and in it there were precious stones, and it came to be on David's head. And the spoil of the city that he brought out was very much. And the people that were in it he brought out, and he kept them employed at sawing stones, and at sharp instruments of iron, and at axes. And that was the way David proceeded to do to all the cities of the sons of Ammon. Finally, David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. And it came about after this that war began breaking out at Gezer with the Philistines. It was then that Sibbecai the Hushathite struck down Sippai, of those born of the Rephaim, so that they were subdued. And there came to be war again with the Philistines, and Elhanan the son of Jair got to strike down Lahmi, the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like the beam of loom workers. And there came to be war again at Gath, when there happened to be a man of extraordinary size, whose fingers and toes were in sixes, 24, and he too had been born to the Rephaim, and he kept taunting Israel. Finally, Jonathan the son of Shimeah, the brother of David, struck him down. These were the ones that had been born to the Rephaim in Gath, and they came to fall by the hand of David, and by the hand of his servants. Chapter 21. And Satan proceeded to stand up against Israel, and to incite David to number Israel. So David said to Joab and the chiefs of the people, Go, count Israel from Beersheba to Dan, and bring it to me that I may know their number. But Joab said, May Jehovah add to his people 100 times as many as they are. Do they not, O my lord the king, all of them belong to my lord as servants? Why does my lord seek this? Why should he become a cause of guilt to Israel? The king's word, however, prevailed over Joab, so that Joab went out and walked through all Israel, after which he came to Jerusalem. Joab now gave the number of the registration of the people to David, and all Israel amounted to 1,100,000 men drawing sword, and Judah 470,000 men drawing sword. And Levi and Benjamin he did not register in among them, because the king's word had been detestable to Joab. Now this thing was bad in the eyes of the true God, and so he struck down Israel. Consequently David said to the true God, I have sinned very much in that I have done this thing. And now please, cause your servant's error to pass away, for I have acted very foolishly. And Jehovah proceeded to speak to Gad, David's visionary, saying, Go, and you must speak to David, saying, This is what Jehovah has said. There are 3 things that I am directing against you. Choose for yourself one of them, that I may do it to you. Accordingly Gad went in to David and said to him, This is what Jehovah has said. Take your pick. Whether for 3 years there is to be a famine, or for 3 months there is to be a sweeping away from before your adversaries, and for the sword of your enemies to overtake you, or for 3 days there is to be the sword of Jehovah, even pestilence in the land, with Jehovah's angel bringing ruin in all the territory of Israel. And now see what I should reply to the one sending me. So David said to Gad, It is very distressing to me. Please, let me fall into the hand of Jehovah, for very many are his mercies, but into the hand of man do not let me fall. Then Jehovah gave a pestilence in Israel, so that out of Israel 70,000 persons fell. Moreover, the true God sent an angel to Jerusalem to bring ruin to it. And as soon as he began bringing the ruin, Jehovah saw it and began to feel regret over the calamity. And so he said to the angel that was bringing the ruin, It is enough. Now let your hand drop. And Jehovah's angel was standing close by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. When David raised his eyes, he got to see Jehovah's angel standing between the earth and the heavens, with his drawn sword in his hand extended toward Jerusalem. And David and the older men, covered with sackcloth, at once fell down upon their faces. And David proceeded to say to the true God, Was it not I that said to make a numbering of the people? And is it not I that have sinned, and have unquestionably done bad? As for these sheep, what have they done? O Jehovah my God, let your hand, please, come to be upon me and my father's house, but not upon your people for a scourge. And Jehovah's angel for his part said to Gad to say to David, that David should go up to erect an altar to Jehovah on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Accordingly David went up at the word of Gad that he had spoken in the name of Jehovah. Meantime Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him were hiding themselves. Now Ornan had been threshing wheat. So David came as far as Ornan. When Ornan looked and saw David, he immediately went out of the threshing floor and bowed down to David with his face to the earth. Then David said to Ornan, Do give me the place of the threshing floor, that I may build in it an altar to Jehovah. For the money in full give it to me, that the scourge may be halted from upon the people. But Ornan said to David, Take it as your own, and let my lord the king do what is good in his own eyes. See, I do give the cattle for burnt offerings, and the threshing sledge for the wood, and the wheat as a grain offering. The whole I do give. However, King David said to Ornan, No, but without fail I shall make the purchase for the money in full, because I shall not carry what is yours to Jehovah to offer up burnt sacrifices without cost. So David gave Ornan for the place gold shekels to the weight of 600. Then David built there an altar to Jehovah and offered up burnt sacrifices and communion sacrifices. And he proceeded to call upon Jehovah, who now answered him with fire from the heavens upon the altar of burnt offering. Moreover, Jehovah said the word to the angel, who accordingly returned his sword to its sheath. At that time, when David saw that Jehovah had answered him at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, he continued to sacrifice there. But the tabernacle of Jehovah that Moses had made in the wilderness, and the altar of burnt offering, were at that time on the high place at Gibeon. And David had not been able to go before it to consult God, for he had been terrified because of the sword of Jehovah's angel. Chapter 22. Then David said, This is the house of Jehovah the true God, and this is an altar for burnt offering for Israel. David now said to bring together the alien residents that were in the land of Israel. And then he set them as stone hewers to hew squared stones for building the house of the true God, and iron in great quantity for nails for the doors of the gates, and for clamps David prepared, and also copper in such quantity as to be beyond weighing, and also cedar timbers without number, for the Sidonians and the Tyrians brought in cedar timbers in great quantity to David. Accordingly David said, Solomon my son is young and delicate, and the house to be built to Jehovah is to be surpassingly magnificent, for beauteous distinction to all the lands. Let me then make preparation for him. So David made preparation in great quantities before his death. Moreover, he called Solomon his son, that he might command him to build a house to Jehovah, the God of Israel. And David went on to say to Solomon his son, As for myself, it became close to my heart to build a house to the name of Jehovah my God. But Jehovah's word came against me, saying, Blood in great quantity you have spilled, and great wars you have waged. You will not build a house to my name, for a great deal of blood you have spilled on the earth before me. Look, there is a son being born to you. He himself will prove to be a restful man, and I shall certainly give him rest from all his enemies all around. For Solomon is what his name will become, and peace and quietness I shall bestow upon Israel in his days. It is he that will build a house to my name, and he himself will become a son to me, and I a father to him. And I shall certainly establish the throne of his kingship firmly over Israel to time indefinite. Now, my son, may Jehovah prove to be with you, and you must prove successful, and build the house of Jehovah your God, just as he has spoken concerning you. Only may Jehovah give you discretion and understanding, and may he give you commandment concerning Israel, even to keep the law of Jehovah your God. In that case, you will prove successful if you take care to carry out the regulations and the judicial decisions that Jehovah commanded Moses respecting Israel. Be courageous and strong. Do not be afraid, nor be terrified. And here, during my affliction, I have prepared for Jehovah's house 100,000 talents of gold, and 1,000,000 talents of silver, and the copper and the iron there is no means of weighing, because they have come to be in such quantity. And timbers and stones I have prepared, but to them you will make additions. And with you there are in great number doers of work, stone hewers, and workers in stone and wood, and every one skillful in every sort of work. The gold, the silver, and the copper, and the iron, there is no means of numbering. Rise and act, and may Jehovah prove to be with you. And David went on to command all the princes of Israel to help Solomon his son. Is not Jehovah your God with you? And has he not given you rest all around? For he has given into my hand the inhabitants of the land, and the land has been subdued before Jehovah and before his people. Now set your heart and your soul to inquire after Jehovah your God, and rise and build the sanctuary of Jehovah the true God, to bring the ark of the covenant of Jehovah and the holy utensils of the true God to the house built to the name of Jehovah. Chapter 23. And David himself had grown old and satisfied with days. And so he made Solomon his son king over Israel. And he proceeded to gather all the princes of Israel and the priests and the Levites. Accordingly the Levites were numbered from the age of 30 years upward. And their number, head by head of them, able-bodied man by able-bodied man, came to be 38,000. Of these, for acting as supervisors over the work of the house of Jehovah, there were 24,000, and as officers and judges 6,000, and 4,000 gatekeepers, and 4,000 givers of praise to Jehovah on the instruments that David said, I have made for giving praise. Then David distributed them in divisions to the sons of Levi, to Gershon, Kohath and Merari. To the Gershonites, Ladan and Shimei. The sons of Ladan were Jehiel the headman, and Zetham and Joel, 3. The sons of Shimei were Shelomoth, and Haziel and Haran, 3. These were the heads of the fathers for Ladan. And the sons of Shimei were Jahath, Zina, and Jeush, and Beriah. These 4 were the sons of Shimei, and Jahath came to be the head, and Ziza the second. As for Jeush and Beriah, they did not have many sons, so they became a paternal house for one official class. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel, 4. The sons of Amram were Aaron and Moses. But Aaron was separated that he might sanctify the most holy, he and his sons to time indefinite, to make sacrificial smoke before Jehovah, to minister to him and to pronounce blessing in his name to time indefinite. As for Moses, the man of the true God, his sons themselves continue to be called among the tribe of the Levites. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eliezer. The sons of Gershom were Shebuel the head, and the sons of Eliezer came to be Rehabiah the head. And Eliezer did not come to have other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah did themselves become exceedingly many. The sons of Izhar were Shelomith the headman. The sons of Hebron were Jeriah the head, Amariah the second, Jehaziel the third, and Jekameam the fourth. The sons of Uzziel were Micah the head, and Ishiah the second. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushi. The sons of Mahli were Eleazar and Kish. But Eleazar died, and he had come to have not sons but daughters. So the sons of Kish, their brothers, took them as wives. The sons of Mushi were Mahli and Eder and Jeremoth, 3. These were the sons of Levi by the house of their fathers, the heads of the fathers by their commissioned ones, in the number of the names, head by head of them, the doers of the work for the service of the house of Jehovah, from the age of 20 years upward. For David had said, Jehovah the God of Israel has given rest to his people, and he will reside in Jerusalem to time indefinite. And also the Levites will not have to carry the tabernacle or any of its utensils for its service. For by the last words of David these were the number of the sons of Levi from the age of 20 years upward. For their function was at the disposition of the sons of Aaron for the service of the house of Jehovah, over the courtyards and over the dining rooms, and over the purification of every holy thing, and the work of the service of the house of the true God, even for the layer bread, and for the fine flour for the grain offering, and for the wafers of unfermented bread, and for the griddle cakes, and for the mixed dough, and for all measures of quantity and size, and for standing morning by morning to thank and praise Jehovah, and likewise at evening, and for every offering up of the burnt sacrifices to Jehovah at the Sabbaths, at the new moons, and at the festival seasons, by number according to the rule concerning them, constantly before Jehovah. And they took care of the guarding of the tent of meeting, and the guarding of the holy place, and the guarding of the sons of Aaron their brothers for the service of the house of Jehovah. Chapter 24. Now the sons of Aaron had their divisions. The sons of Aaron were Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. However, Nadab and Abihu died before their father, and they did not happen to have any sons. But Eleazar and Ithamar continued to act as priests. And David and Zadok from the sons of Eleazar, and Ahimelech from the sons of Ithamar, proceeded to make divisions of them for their office in their service. But the sons of Eleazar were found to be more numerous in headmen than the sons of Ithamar. So they distributed them to the sons of Eleazar, as heads for their paternal houses, 16, and to the sons of Ithamar as heads for their paternal houses, 8. Further, they distributed them by lots, these along with those, for there had to be chiefs of the holy place and chiefs of the true God, from the sons of Eleazar and from the sons of Ithamar. Then Shemaiah the son of Nethanel, the secretary of the Levites, wrote them down before the king and the princes, and Zadok the priest, and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar, and the heads of the fathers of the priests and of the Levites, one paternal house being picked out for Eleazar, and one being picked out for Ithamar. And the lot proceeded to come out, the first for Jehoiarib, for Jedaiah the second, for Harim the third, for Seorim the fourth, for Malchijah the fifth, for Mijamin the sixth, for Hakkoz the seventh, for Abijah the eighth, for Jeshua the ninth, for Shechaniah the 10th, for Eliashib the 11th, for Jachim the 12th, for Happa the 13th, for Jeshebeab the 14th, for Bilgah the 15th, for Immer the 16th, for Hezer the 17th, for Hapizez the 18th, for Pethahiah the 19th, for Jehezkel the 20th, for Jachin the 21st, for Gamal the 22nd, for Delaiah the 23rd, for Maaziah the 24th. These were their offices for their service, to come into the house of Jehovah according to their due right by the hand of Aaron their forefather, just as Jehovah the God of Israel had commanded him. And of the sons of Levi that were left over, of the sons of Amram, there was Shubael, of the sons of Shubael, Jediah, of Rehabiah, of the sons of Rehabiah, Ishiah the head, of the Izharites, Shelomoth, of the sons of Shelomoth, Jahath, and the sons of Hebron, Jeriah the head, Amariah the second, Jehaziel the third, Jekameam the fourth, the sons of Aziel, Micah, of the sons of Micah, Shemir. The brother of Micah was Ishiah, of the sons of Ishiah, Zechariah. The sons of Merari were Malai and Mushai. The sons of Jahaziah, Beno. The sons of Merari, of Jahaziah, Beno, and Shoham, and Zachar, and Ibri. Of Malai, Eleazar, who did not come to have any sons. Of Kish, the sons of Kish were Jerahmeel, and the sons of Mushai were Malai, and Eder, and Jeremoth. These were the sons of the Levites by their paternal houses, and they themselves also proceeded to cast lots exactly as their brothers the sons of Aaron did before David the king, and Zadok and Ahimelech, and the heads of the paternal houses of the priests and of the Levites. As respects paternal houses, the head one was exactly as his younger brother. Chapter 25. Further, David and the chiefs of the service group separated for the service some of the sons of Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, the ones prophesying with the harps, with the stringed instruments, and with the cymbals. And from their number the official men for their service came to be. Of the sons of Asaph, Zachar, and Joseph, and Nethaniah, and Asherelah. The sons of Asaph, under the control of Asaph, the one prophesying under the control of the king. Of Jeduthun, the sons of Jeduthun, Gedaliah, and Zeri, and Jeshaiah, and Shimei. Hashabiah, and Mattathiah, 6, under the control of their father Jeduthun, who was prophesying with the harp for thanking and praising Jehovah. Of Heman, the sons of Heman, Bachiah, Mattaniah, Aziel, Shebuel, and Jeremoth, Hananiah, Hanani, Eliathah, Giddalti, and Romamtiezer, Joshbekasha, Malothai, Hotha, Mahazioth. All these were sons of Heman, a visionary of the king in the things of the true God to raise up his horn. Thus the true God proceeded to give Heman 14 sons and 3 daughters. All these were under the control of their father in song at the house of Jehovah, with cymbals, stringed instruments, and harps for the service of the house of the true God. Under the control of the king were Asaph, and Jeduthun, and Heman. And the number of them together with their brothers, trained in song to Jehovah, all experts, came to be 288. So they cast lots as to the things to be taken care of, the little being just the same as the great, the expert along with the learner. And the lot proceeded to come out, the first belonging to Asaph for Joseph, for Gedaliah the second, he and his brothers and his sons were 12, the third for Zachar, his sons and his brothers 12, the fourth for Izri, his sons and his brothers 12, the fifth for Nethaniah, his sons and his brothers 12, the sixth for Bachiah, his sons and his brothers 12, the seventh for Jeshareelah, his sons and his brothers 12, the eighth for Jeshaiah, his sons and his brothers 12, the ninth for Mattaniah, his sons and his brothers 12, the 10th for Shimei, his sons and his brothers 12, the 11th for Azarel, his sons and his brothers 12, the 12th for Hashabiah, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 13th Shubael, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 14th Mattathiah, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 15th for Jeremoth, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 16th for Hananiah, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 17th for Joshbekasha, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 18th for Hanani, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 19th for Malothai, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 20th for Eliathah, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 21st for Hotha, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 22nd for Giddalti, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 23rd for Mahazioth, his sons and his brothers 12, for the 24th for Romamtiezer, his sons and his brothers 12. Chapter 26. For the divisions of gatekeepers of the Korahites, Meshelemiah the son of Korah of the sons of Asaph. And Meshelemiah had sons, Zechariah the firstborn, Jediael the second, Zebadiah the third, Jathniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Jehohanan the sixth, Elihoenai the seventh. And Obed-Edom had sons, Shemaiah the firstborn, Jehozabad the second, Joah the third, and Sakar the fourth, and Nethanel the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, Peulethai the eighth, for God had blessed him. And to Shemaiah his son there were sons born that were rulers of the house of their father, for they were capable mighty men. The sons of Shemaiah, Othni, and Raphael, and Obed, Elzabad, whose brothers were capable men, Elihu, and Semachiah. All these were of the sons of Obed-Edom, they and their sons and their brothers, capable men with the power for the service, 62 belonging to Obed-Edom. And Meshelemiah had sons and brothers, capable men, 18. And Hosa of the sons of Merari had sons. Shimri was the head, for he did not happen to be the firstborn, but his father appointed him as head. Hilkiah the second, Tebaliah the third, Zechariah the fourth. All the sons and brothers of Hosa were 13. Of these divisions of the gatekeepers, the head men had duties exactly as their brothers did, to minister at the house of Jehovah. So they cast lots for the small, the same as for the great, by their paternal houses, for the different gates. Then the lot to the east fell to Shelemiah. For Zechariah his son, a counselor with discretion, they cast the lots, and his lot got to come out to the north. Obed-Edom had his to the south, and his sons had the storehouses. Shuppim and Hosa had theirs to the west, close by the gate Shaleketh, by the highway that goes up, guard group corresponding with guard group. To the east there were 6 Levites, to the north for a day 4, to the south for a day 4, and for the stores 2 by 2. For the portico to the west, 4 at the highway, 2 at the portico. These were the divisions of the gatekeepers of the sons of the Korahites and of the sons of Merari. As regards the Levites, Ahijah was over the treasures of the house of the true God, and over the treasures of the things made holy. The sons of Ladan, the sons of the Gershonite belonging to Ladan, the heads of the paternal houses belonging to Ladan the Gershonite, Jehieli. The sons of Jehieli, Zetham, and Joel his brother, were over the treasures of the house of Jehovah. For the Amramites, for the Izharites, for the Hebronites, for the Azielites, even Shebuel, the son of Gershom, the son of Moses, was a leader over the stores. As regards his brothers, of Eliezer, there was Rehabiah his son, and Jeshaiah his son, and Joram his son, and Zichri his son, and Shelomoth his son. This Shelomoth and his brothers were over all the treasures of the things made holy, that David the king and the heads of the paternal houses, and the chiefs of the thousands and of the hundreds, and the chiefs of the army had made holy. From the wars and from the spoil they had made things holy to maintain the house of Jehovah, and also all that Samuel the seer, and Saul the son of Kish, and Abner the son of Ner, and Joab the son of Zeruiah had made holy. What anyone made holy was under the control of Shelomith and his brothers. Of the Izharites, Cananiah and his sons were for the outside business as officers and as judges over Israel. Of the Hebronites, Hashabiah and his brothers, capable men, 1,700 were over the administration of Israel in the region of the Jordan to the west, for all the work of Jehovah and for the king's service. Of the Hebronites, Jerijah was the head of the Hebronites by its generations by forefathers. In the 40th year of David's kingship they were sought out, and valiant, mighty men came to be found among them in Jazer in Gilead. And his brothers, capable men, were 2,700, heads of the paternal houses. So David the king assigned them over the Reubenites and the Gadites, and the half-tribe of the Manassites, for every matter of the true God and matter of the king. Chapter 27. As for the sons of Israel by their number, the heads of the paternal houses, and the chiefs of the thousands, and of the hundreds, and their officers that were ministering to the king in every matter, of the divisions of those that came in and that went out, month by month, for all the months of the year, each division was 24,000. Over the first division of the first month there was Jashobeam, the son of Zabdiel, and in his division there were 24,000. Some of the sons of Perez, the head of all the chiefs of the service groups, were for the first month, And over the division of the 2nd month there was Dodai the Ahohite with his division, and Mikloth was the leader, and in his division there were 24,000. The chief of the 3rd service group for the 3rd month was Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the chief priest, and in his division there were 24,000. This Benaiah was a mighty man of the 30 and over the 30, and over his division there was Ammizabad his son. The 4th for the 4th month was Asahel, Joab's brother, and Zebadiah his son after him, and in his division there were 24,000. The 5th chief for the 5th month was Shamhath, the Israelite, and in his division there were 24,000. The 6th for the 6th month was Ira the son of Ikesh, the Tekoite, and in his division there were 24,000. The 7th for the 7th month was Helez, the Pelonite of the sons of Ephraim, and in his division there were 24,000. The 8th for the 8th month was Sibbecai, the Hushathite of the Zeraites, and in his division there were 24,000. The 9th for the 9th month was Abiezer, the Anathothite of the Benjaminites, and in his division there were 24,000. The 10th for the 10th month was Maharai the Netophathite of the Zeraites, and in his division there were 24,000. The 11th for the 11th month was Benaiah the Pirathonite of the sons of Ephraim, and in his division there were 24,000. The 12th for the 12th month was Heldai the Netophathite of Othniel, and in his division there were 24,000. And over the tribes of Israel, of the Reubenites, Eliezer the son of Zichri was leader. Of the Simeonites, Shephatiah the son of Maacah. Of Levi, Hashabiah the son of Kemuel. Of Aaron, Zadok. Of Judah, Elihu, one of David's brothers. Of Issachar, Omri the son of Michael. Of Zebulun, Ishmaiah the son of Obadiah. Of Naphtali, Jeremoth the son of Azriel. Of the sons of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Azaziah. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joel the son of Pedaiah. Of the half-tribe of Manasseh in Gilead, Iddo the son of Zechariah. Of Benjamin, Jaasiel the son of Abner. Of Dan, Azarel the son of Jeroham. These were the princes of the tribes of Israel. And David did not take the number of those from 20 years of age and under, because Jehovah had promised to make Israel as many as the stars of the heavens. Joab the son of Zeruiah had himself started to take the count, but he did not finish. And for this there came to be indignation against Israel, and the number did not come up into the account of the affairs of the days of King David. And over the treasures of the king there was Asmaveth the son of Adiel, and over the treasures in the field, in the cities and in the villages and in the towers, there was Jonathan the son of Uzziah. And over the doers of work in the field, for the cultivation of the soil, there was Ezrai the son of Chelub. And over the vineyards there was Shimei the Ramathite. And over that which was in the vineyards for the wine supplies there was Zabdi the Shifmite. And over the olive groves and the sycamore trees that were in the Shephelah there was Baal-Hanan the Gaderite, and over the oil supplies there was Joash. And over the herds that were grazing in Sharon there was Shitrai the Sharonite, and over the herds in the low plains there was Shaphat the son of Adlai. And over the camels there was Obil the Ishmaelite, and over the she-asses there was Jediah the Meronothite, and over the flocks there was Jaziz the Hagrite. All these were the chiefs of the goods that belonged to King David. And Jonathan, David's nephew, was a counselor, a man of understanding, he being also a secretary, and Jehiel the son of Hachmoni was with the king's sons. And Ahithophel was a counselor of the king, and Hushai the Archite was the king's companion. And after Ahithophel there were Jehoiada the son of Benaiah, and Abiathar, and Joab was chief of the army of the king. Chapter 28. And David proceeded to congregate all the princes of Israel, the princes of the tribes, and the princes of the divisions of those ministering to the king, and the chiefs of thousands, and the chiefs of hundreds, and the chiefs of all the goods and livestock of the king and of his sons, together with the court officials and the mighty men, even every valiant mighty man, to Jerusalem. Then David the king rose to his feet and said, Hear me, my brothers and my people. As for me, it was close to my heart to build a resting house for the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, and as the footstool of our God, and I had made preparation to build. And the true God himself said to me, You will not build a house to my name, for a man of wars you are, and blood you have spilled. Accordingly, Jehovah the God of Israel chose me out of all the house of my father to become king over Israel to time indefinite. For it was Judah that he chose as leader, and in the house of Judah, my father's house, and among my father's sons, I was the one whom he approved to make me king over all Israel. And out of all my sons, for many other sons whom Jehovah has given me, he then chose Solomon my son to sit upon the throne of the kingship of Jehovah over Israel. Further he said to me, Solomon your son is the one that will build my house and my courtyards, for I have chosen him as my son, and I myself shall become his father. And I shall certainly establish his kingship firmly to time indefinite, if he will be strongly resolved to do my commandments and my judicial decisions as at this day. And now, before the eyes of all Israel, Jehovah's congregation, and in the ears of our God, take care and search for all the commandments of Jehovah your God, in order that you may possess the good land, and may certainly pass it on as an inheritance to your sons after you, to time indefinite. And you, Solomon my son, know the God of your father, and serve him with a complete heart and with a delightful soul. For all hearts Jehovah is searching, and every inclination of the thoughts he is discerning. If you search for him, he will let himself be found by you. But if you leave him, he will cast you off forever. See now, for Jehovah himself has chosen you to build a house as a sanctuary. Be courageous and act. And David proceeded to give Solomon his son the architectural plan of the porch, and of its houses, and its storerooms, and its roof chambers, and its dark inner rooms, and the house of the propitiatory cover, even the architectural plan of everything that had come to be with him by inspiration, for the courtyards of Jehovah's house, and for all the dining rooms all around, for the treasures of the house of the true God, and for the treasures of the things made holy, and for the divisions of the priests and of the Levites, and for all the work of the service of Jehovah's house, and for all the utensils of the service of Jehovah's house, for the gold by weight, the gold for all the utensils for the different services, for all the utensils of silver by weight, for all the utensils for the different services, and the weight for the lampstands of gold and their lamps of gold, by weight of the different lampstands and their lamps, and for the lampstands of silver by weight for the lampstand and its lamps, according to the service of the different lampstands, and the gold by weight for the tables of the layer bread, for the different tables, and silver for the tables of silver, and the forks and the bowls and the pitchers of pure gold, and for the small gold bowls by weight for the different small bowls, and for the small silver bowls by weight for the different small bowls, and for the incense altar refined gold by weight, and for the representation of the chariot, namely, the cherubs of gold, for spreading their wings out, and screening over the ark of the covenant of Jehovah. He gave insight for the entire thing in writing from the hand of Jehovah upon me, even for all the works of the architectural plan. And David went on to say to Solomon his son, "Be courageous and strong, and act. Do not be afraid, nor be terrified. For Jehovah God, my God, is with you. He will not desert you or leave you until all the work of the service of Jehovah's house is finished. And here are the divisions of the priests and of the Levites, for all the service of the house of the true God. And with you in all the work there is every willing one with skill for all the service, and also the princes and all the people for all your words." Chapter 29. David the king now said to all the congregation, "Solomon my son, the one whom God has chosen, is young and delicate, but the work is great. For the castle is not for man, but for Jehovah God. And according to all my power, I have prepared for the house of my God the gold for the gold work, and the silver for the silver work, and the copper for the copper work, the iron for the iron work, and the timbers for the timber work, onyx stones, and stones to be set with hard mortar, and mosaic pebbles, and every precious stone, and alabaster stones in great quantity. And since I am taking pleasure in the house of my God, there is yet a special property of mine, gold and silver. I do give it to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house. 3,000 talents of gold of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver for coating the walls of the houses, of the gold for the gold work, and of the silver for the silver work, and for all the work by the hand of the craftsman. And who is there volunteering to fill his hand today with a gift for Jehovah?" And the princes of the paternal houses, and the princes of the tribes of Israel, and the chiefs of thousands and of hundreds, and the chiefs of the business of the king proceeded to volunteer. Accordingly, they gave to the service of the house of the true God gold worth 5,000 talents, and 10,000 derricks, and silver worth 10,000 talents, and copper worth 18,000 talents, and iron worth 100,000 talents. And what stones were found with any persons they gave to the treasure of the house of Jehovah, under the control of Jehiel the Gershonite. And the people gave way to rejoicing over their making voluntary offerings, for it was with a complete heart that they made voluntary offerings to Jehovah, and even David the king himself rejoiced with great joy. Consequently, David blessed Jehovah before the eyes of all the congregation, and David said, "Blessed may you be, O Jehovah, the God of Israel our Father, from time indefinite even to time indefinite. Yours, O Jehovah, are the greatness and the mightiness, and the beauty and the excellency and the dignity. For everything in the heavens and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Jehovah, the one also lifting yourself up as head over all. The riches and the glory are on account of you, and you are dominating everything. And in your hand there are power and mightiness, and in your hand is ability to make great, and to give strength to all. And now, O our God, we are thanking you and praising your beauteous name. And yet, who am I, and who are my people, that we should retain power to make voluntary offerings like this? For everything is from you, and out of your own hand we have given to you. For we are alien residents before you, and settlers, the same as all our forefathers. Like a shadow our days are upon the earth, and there is no hope. O Jehovah our God, all this abundance that we have prepared to build for you a house for your holy name, from your hand it is, and to you it all belongs. And I well know, O my God, that you are an examiner of the heart, and that it is in rectitude that you take pleasure. I, for my part, in the uprightness of my heart, have voluntarily offered all these things, and now your people who are on hand here, I have enjoyed seeing make offerings voluntarily to you. O Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel our forefathers, do keep this to time indefinite as the inclination of the thoughts of the heart of your people, and direct their heart to you. And to Solomon my son, give a complete heart to keep your commandments, your testimonies, and your regulations, and to do everything, and to build the castle for which I have made preparation. And David went on to say to all the congregation, Bless now Jehovah your God. And all the congregation proceeded to bless Jehovah, the God of their forefathers, and bow low, and prostrate themselves to Jehovah and to the king. And they continued to sacrifice sacrifices to Jehovah, and offer up burnt offerings to Jehovah on the day following that day, 1,000 young bulls, 1,000 rams, 1,000 male lambs and their drink offerings, even sacrifices in great number for all Israel. And they continued eating and drinking before Jehovah on that day with great rejoicing. And they proceeded a second time to make Solomon the son of David king, and to anoint him to Jehovah as leader, and also Zadok as priest. And Solomon began to sit upon Jehovah's throne as king, in place of David his father, and to make a success of it, and all the Israelites were obedient to him. As for all the princes and the mighty men, and also all the sons of King David, they submitted themselves to Solomon the king. And Jehovah continued to make Solomon surpassingly great before the eyes of all Israel, and to put upon him such royal dignity as had not come to be upon any king before him over Israel. As for David, the son of Jesse, he reigned over all Israel. And the days that he reigned over Israel were 40 years. In Hebron he reigned for 7 years, and in Jerusalem he reigned for 33 years. And gradually he died in a good old age, satisfied with days, riches, and glory. And Solomon his son began to reign in place of him. As for the affairs of David the king, the first ones and the last, there they are written among the words of Samuel the seer, and among the words of Nathan the prophet, and among the words of Gad the visionary, together with all his kingship and his mightiness, and the times that had passed over him, and over Israel, and over all the kingdoms of the lands.